So what do you think? It's lovely, isn't it? Now, if you look up to the top of the buildings, on all the buildings all around, you can see a decoration up at the top there, and they are stone acorns. You remember the legend of Prince Bladud and his pigs? Now, a number of famous people have lived here in the circus, including the famous missionary and explorer Dr. Livingstone, the famous painter Gainsborough, more recently film star Nicolas Cage. Yeah, it's true. He doesn't live here now, but did. Just down to the left, we're not allowed up there, just the local bus. That would take you into another famous area known as the Royal Crescent as well. And that's like a half circle of these houses. But this is just one of the places to come. There's so much more to do here in Bath. You remember I said this morning, you could stay overnight in Bath, really. There's so much to do. We can only give you tasters on these tours, but as we make our way out, and once again we pass the assembly rooms here, and we're going to be going up the hill, and if you as we turn to the left here, if you start to look down, you see we're climbing up this hill here, and it gets higher and higher. So if you live here in Bath, you have very strong legs in the end from all the walking. Look at the little doors at ground level, not the went down below. As we make our way out, we should see some more a little bit further up here. You see these, they've got little windows and doors here. Do you see them down at the pavement level down below? And that's where they used to have the coal cellars. Because, of course, the 18th century, of course, they had coal fires, open fires. A lot of the houses still do have open fires, but obviously they've got a backup of central heating as well. But a lot of those little coal cellars now have been converted into shops as well. Some of them are a bit bigger than others, and but that's what they were originally. Now, underneath the city of Bath are still many Roman remains, but when you look at these lovely 18th century buildings all around us, obviously you can see they would not want to destroy them in order to discover the Roman city, but that there will be times when they have opportunities to do that. They've got the baths anyway. But many famous people have come here to Bath through the years. Admiral Lord Nelson, who won the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805, he came here with his mistress Emma Hamilton. Now, Emma Hamilton, she was married to Lord Hamilton. She was Lady Hamilton. Now, Lord Hamilton didn't seem to mind her liaison with the Admiral, even seemed to encourage it. Well, eventually the old lord died, and when his will was read out, Lady Hamilton discovered that she had been cut off without a penny. So I think he didn't mind, actually. So anyway, Lady Hamilton came here with Admiral Lord Nelson. Other visitors to Bath, Charles Dickens came here to Bath. He, of course, wrote many different novels in the 19th century. His best remembered one is, of course, Christmas Carol, which has been made into films and cartoons and musicals and everything else. Three spirits: Christmas past, Christmas present, and Christmas still to come. And anyway, he came here to Bath. The famous poet William Wordsworth, some of you may have heard of him. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high of vale and hill. And he actually lived up in the Lake District. If ever you have a chance to go to the Lake District, that's very beautiful too. And there is a time of year, somewhere round about now actually, and I always mean to go every year. Never get round to it. But anyway, you can actually see the fields of daffodils that he was talking about, and you can go to the village that he lived in, Grasmere, and the little cottage that he lived in Dove Cottage is open to the public. Have you seen this? We've got a scattering of snow up here, look. Look at this, freshly fallen snow. Only a light dusting. But, because we're quite high up now as well. Now, I mentioned to you about Queen Anne coming to Bath. Queen Victoria came here when she was just a young girl. She came here to Bath. She wasn't really that impressed with Bath, actually, at the time. But she had a park named after her, the Royal Victoria Park, here in Bath. But if you were to come back here, you've got lots of B&Bs, lots of hotels. If you wanted to drive, you could stay a bit outside of Bath, maybe in one of the farmhouses as well here on the outskirts of Bath. But as I say, there's a lot more to see, and although you cannot bathe in the Roman baths, they do have a spa here in Bath, which is not very far away from the exit of the Roman baths, and it's in the appropriately named Bath Street. And that's the hot spring comes into there, and you can float about in there and have all sorts of treatments. So, you know, you can really indulge yourself here in Bath, and then go to the pump room, have a candlelit dinner as well. Very, very nice. Lots of nice things to do here in Bath. Go and visit the Jane Austen Centre, of course, remembering that Jane Austen lived here in Bath, and there is the Jane Austen Centre. It's not the actual house that she lived in, but very similar to it, and that's been given over to tell the story of her life. And they've got a shop there, everything. And as we go out, if you look at these walls to our right and left hand side, these are dry stone walls. And the dry stone walls, the traditional dry stone walls, have no cement holding them together, just stones placed one on top of the other. And it's quite an art form, actually, to build a dry stone wall. And it takes many years, and they've just got to make sure that the stones fit exactly into that place. Now, occasionally you'll find a dry stone wall that is cemented on the top sometimes, and apparently one of the farmers told me that's to stop people pinching the stones. Yeah, apparently people have. So this is quite a nice wall here to our left hand side. Sometimes they have cars have come off the road and gone through them, and so they've come down, or extremely adverse weather conditions, but usually they're very, very strong. I can remember once being in a car a long time ago, working in the theatre, and we were travelling overnight to get to somewhere, and there was black ice on the road. Anyway, the car came off the road, and we were very lucky actually. We went through a dry stone wall into this field of rather surprised looking sheep, and we were okay. We were so tightly packed in the car. I think there were about 7 of us in where you would normally have about 4 people in, that we didn't have much of an injury really, just shaken up a bit really. But the point I'm making is that we did manage to get through this dry stone wall and knock quite a hole in it. Now, you remember I said we're only about half an hour's drive from South Wales. Just coming up on our left-hand side, we're going to get a magnificent view over to our left-hand side. Now, was that a mistake?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right then. Right, you're allowed one mistake. Well, the yellow one is for stop, but that's an emergency. But the red one is for that's for waiter service, but it's his day off today. If you want the lights on, the little grey ones. Just over to the left-hand side, right over in the distance, those furthest hills that you see, that is Wales over there. And we're kind of, as we come down, get an even better view of it over there. to the right hand side. We've just like come over the border now. We've come out of Bath and Somerset, and we're now in Gloucestershire, South Gloucestershire, and we're like on the edge of another very beautiful area which is called the Cotswolds. And sometimes when people do tours, they combine it, do Bath and the Cotswolds, and it's a little bit of a journey, but it can be done. But during the summer months, from May onwards, we actually do tours of the Cotswolds, where you stop in Cotswold villages, and you visit Blenheim Palace at the end of the day. But a very, 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 very nice tour indeed. Cotswolds, it's a bit of an odd word. It's two words, cots meaning sheep pens, and wolds meaning elevated area or hills. Sheep pen hills. And it gets that name because at one time the Cotswolds was the centre of the wool trade, and they had many sheep here in the Cotswolds. The breed of sheep they had were called Cotswold Lions, and they had beautiful long fleeces from which they used to make the most exquisite wool. It's no longer the centre of the wool trade, but was at one time. Passing a golf course over here to our right, and we'll see the Golf and Country Club in a moment also over to our right hand side. Just over there, that's Tracy Park Golf Club. Right, well, what we're going to do now, we're going to make our way up to the motorway, and then head straight back into London from there. Now, I mentioned to you this morning that obviously we don't go back to every single hotel, but we're going to be dropping in areas, and I'm going to talk to you about that in a few moments. I mentioned it as well as I came out, but I'll go into it in more detail. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to check which lines they're doing maintenance work on, and then I can give you a fully detailed drop-off service. So it won't be too long before we get onto the motorway.